Hi everyone and welcome to topic 15, also known as our last chapter for 8th grade math. So great job on making it this far and hang in there for these last 6 lessons. They should be pretty painless as we get started. All right, so here are the lesson that we're working on today is regarding bivariate data. So bivariate is a combination of two words meaning bi meaning usually two or more than one, like a bicycle has two wheels, so more than one or two. And then variate is a variation of the word variable. So it's when we're working with bivariate data, we're working with two variables and data. Okay, and I'm going to have the computer read this part to you so you can follow along on your screen.
When you collect data, you record characteristics of the population, such as height or gender. These characteristics are called variables. Some variables, like height, are measurement variables because they have values that are measures, such as 64 inches. Other variables, like gender, are categorical variables because they have values that are categories, such as male or female. Measurement data consists of data that are measures. Categorical data consists of data that fall into categories.
All right, so in the past, we've primarily been working with measurement data. And for the most part, in this chapter, we're going to be working with categorical data, data that falls into categories. So, for example, you could be like people who own a pet versus people who don't, or people who own a cat or a dog, or a cat and a dog. So, different ways of categorizing different groups of people is kind of what we're looking at here. Okay, so indicate whether each variable has values that are categorical data or measurement data. So a zip code, that's like the area where you live. Is that categorical or measurement? Well, I think that's categorical. What about commute time? Time is something that's measurable. Tree species, categorical. Population, measurement. Eye color, we can only group on that. We can't measure it. Let's go ahead and check. Zip codes, it was categories. That was the one I wasn't sure about. Zip code was category. All right, awesome. So now for your turn, will data about telephone area codes be categorical or measurement data? Ooh, interesting question. Let's take a look. It says that telephone area codes are numbers, but they are not measurements. They indicate regions of the country. Data about telephone area codes will be categorical data. I agree with this unless you're counting how many people live in that area. It depends on what the question is, but typically it will be categorical and not measurable. Okay, let's jump into our key concept for today.
Previously, you have studied two-variable measurement data. Another term for two-variable data is bivariate data. Bivariate categorical data pairs categorical data collected about two variables of the same population. Suppose you collect data from a group of people about their gender and whether they own a pet. You are collecting bivariate categorical data. The data for each person will fall into one of the following groups: male with pet, female with pet, male without pet, female without pet.
Okay, so if you're asking someone what if they have a pet, that person is most likely either male or female, and it either does or does not own a pet. So we're working with bivariate categorical data. All right, so let's jump into our part two. Okay, so tell which surveys you can use to collect bivariate categorical data about the students in your school. So one would be, are you male or female? And how did you get to school today? So that's category one. That's category two. The second survey would be, how many minutes does it take you to get to school? And then how many inches tall are you? And the third could be, did you watch a movie last weekend? Did you play a game last weekend? Did you do homework last weekend? Okay, so remember we need to first categorize people into one category and then categorize them into a second category. So survey 3 is not an option because these are just yes or no questions. And then how many minutes does it take you to get to school? Doesn't give us a group of people. So the first one, really, survey one, is the correct answer. It's going to first tell us which group of people we're looking at, and then how did they get to school, the second group of people. Okay, so which survey can you use to collect bivariate categorical data? So what is your favorite type of movie, and how many siblings do you have? Or do you play a sport, and do you want to go to college? Which one would give you bivariate data? Hopefully you said survey two, because first either is a yes or no. It's one or the other. Do you play a sport? Yes or no. Are you male or female? Yes or no. Are you above 13 or over 13? Yes or no. So you're looking for a yes or no answer first, and then a second question. So survey two would be the only one that would give you bivariate categorical data.
Bowser is at the vet so much. I got him his own custom-designed cone.
All right, so we are going to jump into example 3 here. It's saying you want to see if there's an association between dogs being purebred and needing surgery during the last year. So first, is the dog purebred? And then the question would be, did they need surgery? So design a survey to collect the categorical data. Oops, I just gave away the answer. So identify the variables, the categories, and the groups into which the data will fall. So let's jump back, pretend I didn't say what I said earlier. First, we need to look at the variables. So we're going to first find out if the dog is purebred, and then if they needed surgery. Okay, so our options are, this is going to be fun, purebred, and they needed surgery. That's going to be option 1. Option 2, we'll change colors, is purebred and no surgery. Option 3 is non-purebred and surgery. And option 4 is non-purebred and no surgery. Okay, so do you see how whoever we survey with about a dog is going to fall into one of these 4 categories, no matter what? So for example, I have a dog that is not a purebred and did not need surgery this past year, so I would be in the pink category down here. My grandma has a dog that is purebred and did not need surgery last year, so that would be in the green category. Okay, so every dog that we survey would first be in one of these categories, either purebred or non-purebred, and then would be in either surgery or no surgery. Okay, so it's bivariate. There's the categories, and these are the 4 groups into which the data will fall. Okay, so now I want you to try it. Playing sports and being left-handed. Is there an association between playing sports and being left-handed? So what are the questions you're going to ask, and what are the categories into which the data will fall? Okay, the first question is, do you play sports? That's yes or no. And then, are you left-handed? That's yes or no. So your questions are going to be, do you play sports? So the variables are playing sports and left-handed. The categories are yes or no. So the options are going to be they play a sport and they're left-handed. They play a sport and they're not left-handed. Does not play a sport and is left-handed, and does not play a sport and is not left-handed. So those are your 4 options. Those would be on my 4 sticky notes. Okay. All right. So that's our intro to bivariate data. It's time for you to do your close-in check. So go ahead and grab that and do numbers 1 through 3, and then I will pull up the answer key, which again is not pulling up the normal way. That's okay. All right, here are your answers. Do numbers 1 through 3, check your work, and then I will see you in the next lesson.